好的，特斯拉正在带我们回家，咱们记录一下，看看特斯拉在路上有什么精彩的表现。我们一边走一边听一个 Elon Musk 的一个采访，这是在2024年7月份的一个采访，我们来好好听一下。我觉得在网上与其看很多信息，很多很杂的信息，在 YouTube 上看很多人的各种评论，咱不如听一下原汁原味的 Elon Musk 他在采访中是怎么讲特斯拉的。那这样我们才有一个最基本的一个最核心的一个认识，所以我们能从自己的角度来出发，理解一下 CEO Elon Musk 他是如何看待特斯拉的。
Yeah, Elon. So obviously a lot of Tesla fans here as well as SpaceX, but regarding on the Tesla side, can you give us any updates on any future models? Obviously, the Robotaxi is coming out.
I can't do like product announcements.
At the X takeover, just joking.
I think the a lot of what I've said, I said on the earnings call, or tweets. I try to say what I think on the earnings call. The overwhelmingly important thing is achieving unsupervised full self-driving. So this is really profound, and hopefully a lot of you have gotten the chance to use 12.5 or at least 12.3.6. So the Tesla AI team, and it's a couple hundred. It's not a huge team. It's just a few hundred super talented engineers. But I do want to emphasize that it's obviously way more than me, but it's more than Ashok, and it's like tough to recognize like 200 people. But I just do want to emphasize that it's actually a little more than 200 people that are really responsible for the full self-driving software side, and then we've got a great chip design team, because you need the chip it's going to run on something. So the Tesla AI chip, hardware 3 and hardware 4, and then upcoming hardware 5, which will probably be in volume production in 26. Yeah, 26. There's really great chip team, and then we've also got a great training cluster team. Like, it's actually very hard to run to build and run a large NVIDIA training cluster takes a lot of skill and a lot of work. Team's cranking 24/7 on building the south extension to the Gigafactory in Austin. And I was actually just talking to the team last night, making good progress for installing the servers. But I do it's like sometimes people think, oh, you just buy NVIDIA GPUs and plug them in and they start the training run and off you go. This is not the case at all.
That's where
it's super hard, actually. In fact, one of those tricky things that is kind of interesting with if you've got a large NVIDIA training run, or in any kind of like large training run, the power fluctuations are unlike anything you ever see anywhere else, because the GPU is all running with extreme precision. It's like a
目前有一辆车想要插进来。好，特斯拉，它进来了，比较激进。特斯拉正在给它一个位置。好的，非常大胆啊！如果插进来的这辆车是特斯拉，哇，那就更 amazing 了。现在特斯拉每次到这儿会自动变到右边，非常好。咱们继续听伊隆马斯克对特斯拉的评价。
Sounds like a light show almost.
It's kind of like a light show. You just get these dramatic changes in power draw. And so when you're at 50 megawatts, that can go from 50 megawatts down to 20 megawatts in 100 milliseconds. That's just very unusual. So, and back up again. Anyway, so it's actually quite challenging. So shout out to the Tesla team for that. Is building and operating the training center. So it's really like quite a few pieces of the puzzle that need to be done, and then we've got to record a lot of data, and feed that into the training system. But the net result is that it's really starting to become quite compelling, I think, with 12.5, and as I mentioned publicly, we've increased the number of parameters by a factor of 5. Now, one can't simply increase parameters. One does not simply increase parameters. Unless those parameters are useful and done in the right way, it doesn't matter. You actually have to have the parameters be the right. Well, each parameter is like just a number, but the numbers have to be correct. And you can think of what the AI is trying to do is effectively compress reality. So it's trying to say like, okay, we're taking all this video in, trying to understand reality, compress it down to, a few gigabytes really. Although I think that's steadily expanding and will probably end up being 20 gigabytes soon. But we're trying to compress reality into, I don't know, a few gigabytes is pretty hard. And because the inference computer in the car is much weaker than, say, a GPU in a server center, it's only got like maybe 15 to 20% as much power, so in order to make, if your inference computer is relatively weak, then you have to spend actually more effort on the training side in order to make up for the weak inference computer. Anyway, so but it is working. I think it's doing really well, and I think we'll see continued rapid improvements each passing week.
Speaking of light shows, Elon, I just want to say thank you for reposting and sharing our light show on X Takeover. Appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
So I want to talk about battery technologies. What advancements are you most excited about in terms of battery technology, and how will they impact the range of and efficiency of the future Teslas?
Well, I think it's important to note that even if there were no battery breakthroughs at all, I think you could electrify all road transport, and all road and transport and all ships could be electrified, with even if there was zero improvements in battery technology. This may be an important point to note. Now, there will be improvements in battery technology, but even if there weren't, you could electrify all ground and water transport. For airplanes, you do need some improvement in the energy density, the gravimetric and volumetric energy density. So you ideally want to have about a 450 to 500 watt-hours per kilogram energy density, which you can get, I think, in some. It's getting there. Like it's with some expensive cells, they're up in that region. But really, most of the R&D effort is in improving the cost per per kilowatt hour. So the cost of range, like how do you improve the cost of the battery pack in order to make the cars more affordable? And then from a range standpoint, I think people are coming to expect a range of roughly 300 miles, I think, as being kind of normal, maybe a little above 300 miles. And that's if you're assuming that you're not climbing a mountain in cold weather. As you add more load, the range will decrease. On the other hand, if you're going down a mountain, your range will increase. I think we're really starting to see like a normal
这是一个
EPA
比
range
较有意
of
思的
above
决定。
300 miles as being kind of the normal
因
standard.
为前面就有左拐了，它必须
And
要
and then
到
just
右
figuring
边
out
两
how
个
to
道。
build enough battery packs and scale it up. We're making good progress in the Tesla designed cell, which is a design manufacturer cell, which is this is a hard problem. I mean, there are entire companies that's all they do. But the rate of progress is good. And but like I said, no major breakthroughs. There's a lot of work just to say like how many gigawatt hours of cells need to be made every year to really transition the world to a sustainable energy economy. It's actually,
That's his point.
hundreds of gigawatt hours
Mission.
per year, ultimately perhaps thousands. And a lot of it will go to stationary storage. So for pairing wind power with stationary battery packs and solar power with stationary battery packs, and just overall improving the efficiency and stability of the grid with the stationary battery packs. That's actually quite a big deal. So yeah, but overall, I feel like things are progressing at a good rate.
So I've been,
刚才距离左边
again, I'm
非常
I
近。
think of a lot of the OGs that I've met over the years who've been following Tesla. I'm fairly late to the game, but it's crazy even since 2018, going from being weeks, if not days, from bankruptcy to how the company has been going from ramping to 5,000 Model 3s into full self-driving. And the one thing, I mean, I always knew that I was driving a robot at the end of the day, but never did I think, I guess maybe I was just limited in thinking that we would ever create humanoids in Tesla specifically. And again,
Yeah.
how would you say, as also too, Tesla's an AI robotics company, how has that just changed the outlook for Tesla, just having these bots maybe, ramping to being in factories? And you've made comments about how you believe, Tesla will be the most valuable company in the world. And so, how is robotics?
Yeah.
So how has robotics, humanoids just impacted the valuation view and really the vision for the company?
Right. Well, I mean, you can think of the Tesla cars as essentially robots on four wheels.
Good point.
So
Correct.
it's really profound, and I'd recommend get just giving demonstrations of
这一点大家
the
都值得
self-driving
大家来
capability
思
to
考一下。
people, to friends and family and stuff. Because if you take a Model 3 or Model Y, I mean, it's a good-looking car, but it doesn't look like it has like super intelligence.
It is. It has.
It looks
This
like
guy.
it's a good-looking
This
electric
guy.
car, but it doesn't look like it's like. I use the analogy like, let's say you had a cat, and it looks like a normal cat, but actually your cat can talk and jump up and do like a hat and cane dance and do like a musical.
Are you talking about Garfield?
Essentially, like let's say you had a sentient cat that could talk and sing and dance, but people look at the cat on the couch and the cat well, it just looks like a normal cat, until it jumps up and does a song and dance, and it's like whoa, like, wow, what was that?
Whoa.
So that's the thing with the self-driving is that, yeah, sure, the Model 3 Y, they're good-looking, normal-looking cars, except ours can basically sing and dance, and it's intelligent and can drive from one place to another. So it's just demonstrating that to people kind of blows their mind. So I'd recommend doing that because that's really key. And then for the Optimus robot, that's really an extension of what we've learned with the car. So the car is a robot with four wheels, intelligent robot with four wheels, and Optimus is an intelligent robot with arms and legs. So, in the case of Optimus, we have to design every part of the robot from scratch. All the motors and gears and electronics and sensors all have to be designed from scratch, and also we have to learn how to operate all of these motors and sensors, you really get to learn a lot about how the human body works, and you realize there's a reason why we evolved this way. There's a reason why the muscles that operate your hand are actually located in your forearm, because you actually so you're, if you look at your sort of hand, it's sort of like it's like a puppet basically, and the puppet strings are in your forearm, there are a small number of muscles that are actually in the hand, but most of the muscles that operate your hand are in your forearm. So with the current version of Optimus, we actually have the actuators in the hand, but with the new version that we're moving to later this year, the actuators are in the forearm, and really emulating how a human hand works. So, and there really are no motors, and there are no actuators. When I say actuator, an actuator would be like motor plus gearbox plus power electronics and sensors. There are no actuators that you can buy for really any amount of money that work well for a humanoid robot. So we have to go back to physics first principles and design all of the actuators from scratch. So it's a tremendous amount of work, and I think it'd be very difficult for any company that does not have that's not extremely good at designing actuators to make an effective humanoid robot. And then it'll have the same like brain as the car. So initially hardware 4 and then hardware 5 in 26. And then just as the car is learning how to navigate reality, it's the same basic process for the humanoid robot. And I think basically everyone's going to want one. So it's like, who wouldn't want, sort of like, there's different ways to think of robots, but like let's say R2-D2 and C-3PO were real, and you could have them. Like, who would not want R2-D2, C-3PO? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like a friendly buddy robot. Now we need to make sure they stay friendly, of course. That's very important.
I was hoping for Garfield.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of like people will get pretty attached to their humanoid robots, just like people, you get attached to C-3PO and R2-D2. I think everyone's going to pretty much want one. And I think long term, the cost of the humanoid robot should be less than the cost of a car, because it weighs less. There's, fewer parts in it. So ultimately, I think, a humanoid robot that is super useful, I think long term is probably like $20,000 or $25,000. But it depends on what a dollar's worth in the future, inflation and all. But current year dollars, I think, I can see reaching a price of $20,000-$25,000 for a humanoid robot that would be really useful. That could help you take care of kids, walk the dog, go get groceries, like
awesome.
whatever works, So I think everyone's going to want one. So there's 8 billion people on Earth, and I think they're all going to want one. So that's why I think it's probably going to be the biggest thing ever.
Elon, what are you going to use your robot for?
Well, initially we're starting like production design 1 of Optimus, which we'll do some basic stuff in the Tesla factories next year, because we want to iron out a lot of details. It's just to make sure it's useful. And for the first year or so, it's going to require quite a lot of babysitting from engineering, and then hopefully when we get to 2026, that'll be one we could sort of sell it outside of the company, because and have be confident that it'll work reasonably well and respond to voice commands and that kind of thing. So
responds to voice,
and then you'll be able to sort of, I think, customize how the robot looks as well, long term.
Cool.
Because, you can kind of shell or skin the robot however you like. So I think there'll be a wide variation wide variations in how the robots looks, how the robot looks, and maybe like some third parties could do cool things. Just like there's like cool third party wraps
cool
of the Cybertruck. Some really creative art, I think. So the Cybertruck's like, even though it ships as kind of like bare stainless steel, it ends up having some of the most interesting art in terms of how it's wrapped. And so it's really quite unique. And actually, I was talking to Pharrell. He was obviously very creative, and I think he has some ideas for doing a Pharrell version of an Optimus, for example, which would be pretty cool to have like different artists come up with different versions of Optimus.
So, speaking of Cybertruck, I've had a Cybertruck since middle of February, and I'm so used to FSD. And you probably know.
You really want that? I totally agree.
I don't know if I could get special access, but or more importantly for everybody, I'm just saying I've driven 10,000 miles, and
Me
it
too.
kills my soul.
I'm so used to FSD
technology,
Sure.
and I feel like I'm driving. It's still the most amazing vehicle
Sure.
Tesla's ever made. But any updates on FSD with Cybertruck?
Well, I think that should be coming out in August. So 12.5
so technically 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's at some point in the next 2 to 4-ish weeks. It should work. Cybertruck. I mean, I'm not sure the exact timing, because we just have to test it and make sure it works well. But 12.5 is where a lot of things come together. Where you've got the high, we upgrade the highway stack to be the latest version. So it's you don't have the old highway stack and the new city stack yet. So having one sort of integrated state-of-the-art stack for highway and city is a big deal. Like little things like you can wear sunglasses and still do the hands-off driving, and then having it work on Cybertruck. I mean, a friend of mine drove Cybertruck all the way halfway across the country, and he said it was driving him crazy that he could not turn on FSD because it wasn't working.
We literally have people, I think, who drove from Florida, Toronto, in their Cybertrucks. Well, not for, but just coming from all over the U.S. And I think that's literally the one thing. They were just like feeling peasant status, even though this is the best product that Tesla has made yet. So,
it's great. It's a great product. It should be very soon.
Elon, what other future car projects are you most excited about? Is it the Roadster? Is it the Robotaxi? Can you speak about what you're most excited about?
Well, I think in terms of what will have the biggest impact in the world, it will be the Robotaxi, dedicated Robotaxi. Now, of course, all Tesla vehicles can operate it, or will be able to operate as a Robotaxi. Pretty much all. So, I think the dedicated Robotaxi will have single biggest effect in the world. The semi-truck, I think, will have a very, very big effect. The Roadster is one of those things that's not like necessary from a utility standpoint, but is super cool. I guess a friend of mine, Peter Thiel, is like, he always says like, why don't we have flying cars? And I'm like, wait for it. It's coming. So I think it'll be super cool. Is it change the world? I don't know, but I think like sometimes you just gotta have things that are just cool, because it's just great to have awesome things in the world. So it's kind of cherry on the cake. I think the Roadster demo will be mind-blowing. It might be the most mind-blowing demo of anything ever.
Wow.
So follow up. When is that happening? I don't know if you could share that, but it's all good if you have to.
但我们知道它已经在10月10号发生了。
Next year sometime.
他说
And
的是真正
that's
的
a joint sort of Tesla
那
SpaceX
就是明年，那就是今年。
effort. So it's kind of applying, combining rocket engineering with Tesla EV engineering. To make something really special.
I heard it can fly a little.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it'll be something special, and we'll continue to make new products that we haven't talked about at all. So there's new things that'll come out.
好，咱们看一下
The
这个
really
特斯拉会不
ultra
会是造
profound
型
thing is
这边
full
有个车单
self-driving.
哦，
Unsupervised full self-driving. That's like the gigantic thing. And then Optimus having an autonomous, useful humanoid robot is an even bigger thing than full self-driving.
Wow.
Those are the two things
That's a fact.
like if you were to look back in history
Everyone needs to
from,
know.
fast forward like 20, 30 years or 50 years even, like what are the things that really were profound?
Robot.
It'll be unsupervised, a general solution to unsupervised full self-driving, and a humanoid robot that is truly useful.
Wow.
Even 100 years from now, they'll be like, whoa, those are big ones.
That's the future of the Tesla.